this is Linda Medeiros, and this is What's Linda Cooking for ORC TV. We are at the Rochester Council on Aging, and you know what? It is November 1st. How did that happen? I don't know. But it's November 1st, and I'm thinking about, Thanksgiving. So what we're doing today is some side dishes, just 2 different side dishes. And one of them, I have to tell you, I'm kind of in love with. And so I'm going to put this oven on, because I have the other oven on, but I want to put this oven on. About 400 degrees. I'm going to put that on. And what I'm doing today, 2 different side dishes. We're doing a corn pudding. My husband and I tried this, and oh my gosh. Even my mother loved it, okay? Which is amazing, actually. So Michael and I were like, wow, this is really good. And then I wanted to do a cauliflower au gratin, but you know what? Price Right didn't have just frozen cauliflower, and normally I would use frozen, even though it says fresh in the recipe. I usually use frozen because you can buy it ahead of time, and it's just easier. It doesn't go bad, and when you get fresh veggies, I do love fresh veggies, but sometimes they go bad. And Sid Wainer wasn't open today because I would have gone to Sid Wainer to see if they had any cauliflower, but couldn't. So we're using the California mix, but first we're going to do the corn pudding. And I have to tell you, it's an amazing recipe. So here are the suspects. I've got some regular corn. Now, at home, I actually used frozen corn, okay? But you can use fresh, you can use canned, you can use frozen for this one, okay? It worked really well. Then we have some cream style corn. Now my mother said, oh, you should have just done it instead of getting cream style corn, you should just have creamed it yourself. Well, cream style corn, it has a bunch of other stuff in it. So that's why I just opted for the actual recipe. So we got a can of cream style corn. Then the recipe asks for pimentos. And here's the thing, when I got these ingredients, I actually went to Aldi and then Super Walmart, and they did not have pimento. So I got roasted red peppers instead. Oh, hint, I'm going to throw this away, but I normally at home, I save all of my glass jars and I wash them out really good. And if they have any lingering odor, like sometimes this kind has lingering odor, so what I do is I put some water in it and some vinegar, and I turn it upside down and let it, because it's usually the cap that has the lingering, and I just let it sit there. So what do I use these for? I use them for spices. I use the bigger jars for rice and pasta and stuff like that, okay? Because I always figure out, you're using these, you might as well use them again and again and again. But also, I'm going to put in a plug for buying in glass or in aluminum, because they have infinite recycling, okay? Unlike plastic that can only be recycled once or twice. So that's my little plug, because if you looked in my house, I have a lot of glass containers with everything in them, okay? And that's what I do. So I'm taking my food choppers, and I just want to chop up these a little bit, because they were a little bit longer. So I want to show you, see how I have, I just have them chopped up a little bit, just coarsely chopped. And we're going to throw this in here. Let me get this. Okay. Mix that up a little bit. There we go. And I've got a couple of bigger pieces in there, but that's okay. And then I have half a stick of melted butter. So I'm just going to throw that in there. And I'm going to use this pan again for the next dish that I'm making. So it's okay if it does not all get out into the thing. So I'm going to mix that up. And I'm just mixing kind of as I go along. Then I'm going to put a cup of sour cream. At home, I only had a minuscule, and I'm only using half of this, okay? Because it's about a cup. And if it's a little over, it's okay. It's okay. You know how I do my recipes are just kinda recipes, okay? These I actually save too for recycling, but also I use it for leftovers. Like Thanksgiving is coming up, and I actually save all of those containers for my family to take leftovers home in.
Very smart.
Right. My sister Lisa will usually come with containers because she knows she's going to take stuff home. She knows everybody else is going to take stuff home because I make a ton of food. And so she'll come with it and I'll say, just put those aside. I have stuff. And they're like, well, and my brother will say things like, people throw these things out. And I'm like, I know. But I use them at least. I feel like if I'm going to use plastic, I want to use it more than once. Okay? So, same thing with my bags. My Ziploc bags. Unless it has raw meat in it. Okay, so let's see. I got all my stuff in here. And now I'm just going to put in some corn. This is like the Jiffy cornbread mix. That's like 40 some odd cents. Okay, so we're just going to put that in there. And you can use whatever you want, or you can make your own recipe of cornbread with the cornmeal and stuff like that. But I would tend, if you're going to use like the Jiffy is a little on the sweeter side. So if you get a cornbread recipe from the north, it's normally not sweet. If you get one from the south, a southern cornbread recipe, it's sweeter. Okay? That's just what I have noticed. Now, I normally put it in a 2-quart, which is usually a little bit smaller than this, but I'm just going to put this in. And I did, at home, I did not grease it, but this one I did. I greased this a little bit. So we're going to put that, and then get every last thing out, because it's not like it's a cake batter that we're going to be eating the batter. Don't do that. Even though I do it because of, raw egg. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. I always think that there's egg in this recipe, and there isn't. And then we're just going to spread this out. We're going to bake it for about 30 minutes, give or take. And it is going to be not like your corn bread. It's going to be a little bit loose in the center. Okay? That's what it's going to be. So about 400 degrees. I'm actually going to put this, let's throw that down there. Okay, now we're going to start our broccoli, not really broccoli, cauliflower au gratin, which I have the mix. So let's start that. What do we need to do that? We need a couple of tablespoons of butter, and I'm actually going to put a little bit more than 2 because I actually like this a little bit looser, heavier than what it was. So we're going to put in pretty much, and by the way, some people, what they do with butter things is another saving tip, because I'm thrifty. They save these and put them in their butter thing, the paper, and then you use it to, because it all has butter on it, just so you know. I know you're all going to say, Linda is a crazy, crazy woman when it comes to that stuff. But I am. I want to save as much as possible, and I also want to save the environment as much as possible, especially when there's a climate thing going on, I think, right now. So we got that. Now don't let me forget about what's behind me. Let's lower this. It's too high. And I'm just melting that butter, and once it's melted, we're going to add in a little bit of flour. Okay? I'm going to cook the flour. But right now the recipe calls for cheddar, white cheddar. You see I have yellow. And Gruyere. I don't have it. I didn't have it at Price Rate. And I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to bring it over to here and do another one, because that's about half. Because I want 2 different. This grater is amazing. I love this grater. And it does have a grating guide, like a finger saver. And use the finger saver, because my son-in-law had our previous one that we had, and he cut himself with it. Went to the emergency room, did not need a stitch. But you just never know. So this is melted. I'm going to put in some flour. And I'm just going to cook it for about a minute. Just going to cook that for about a minute. And my error usually is that I put too much milk in. And it doesn't thicken enough. But we'll see how I do it this time. So let that cook. We're just making a roux, and we're making like a bechamel sauce, okay?
Does it turn brown?
You can, when you're making gumbo, you're actually going to cook that and brown it for eons, like eons, okay? We're talking, you're probably gonna cook it, I've heard people cooking it for 45 minutes. Some people cook it in the oven, some people cook it on top of the stove. In the oven is a little bit less time consuming and you're not standing over it, but. So I'm gonna add my milk and I'm just gonna whisk as I'm going along. And you know what, it says about a cup and a half, and the last one you'll see it's a little bit more. I probably put more in than what I needed, because you know me, I don't like measure. So I got a wayward piece of cheese over there, so we're gonna put that. And we're just going to let this come up to a boil, okay? So you know I love fresh cheese. This is why I grate my cheese, and you get more cheese, by the way. When you get a block of cheese, you actually get more cheese. So that's why I tend to try to grate my cheese, unless I'm doing something that literally I need like 10 cups of cheese, then I might be like, okay, maybe I need to have the other stuff. But, or I'll use my food processor to do it. But most of the time, I'll use a hand grater. Because how long did that take me? Seconds. And that's 8 ounces. And that is real cheese. And a lot of those bags are 8 ounces of cheese. Okay? And if you want it so that you are going to like use it later on, you can put this on parchment paper in a sheet pan. Just put it on there and put it in the freezer. When it freezes, then put it in a Ziploc bag or a container. And then you can just use that cheese. And it doesn't have all the other additives like wood pulp.
Cellulose.
That's wood pulp. So, sawdust. Yes. A little bit of fiber there. Okay? But I do use it every once in a while just because sometimes I need to. You've seen me sometimes use it here, but I don't like to. So we're just gonna, that is coming up to thickness. Okay? And then once it comes up, I am going to, shut off the heat. You'll see that in a second, okay? But my mother used to make this all the time, but she used to do this, but also my friend's mother would make it with Velveeta. So when you're getting those boxes of Velveeta, you can use it with the Velveeta, okay? But the homemade version that I'm making right here, so much better. Okay, so I'm gonna show you, let's hope this is not, the consistency. See how it's nice and thick? That's the consistency you want, okay? So now we're just gonna add, and I'm gonna add this one, we're gonna add the cheese. Take it off the heat, add all of your cheese. Not all of it, I'm keeping some of it for the top, okay? Now my mother and my friend's mother would then add Ritz crackers, okay? So you can do that too to the top. Make crush your Ritz crackers or breadcrumbs, panko. I always use, my own fresh breadcrumbs when I'm making something like that. And I make my own fresh panko too. Do you know how to make fresh panko? You just take your bread ends. I take the bread ends. They will tell you not to have the ends, but I always use my bread ends. And I whirl it up in a food processor, and not so that it's fine. Then you put it on a sheet pan, bake it in the oven for a little bit, toast it, okay? And that will give you your panko breadcrumbs, okay? So you don't have to pay those huge prices and stuff. Thank you. So here's what we're gonna do. We are going,
There's no spices in it.
oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Spices in this, I need some. A little bit of garlic. In the panko, here's what I do. I don't put spices in it because then I can add spices later on, whatever spices I want. So I'm putting a little bit of garlic powder in here. Now, had she not mentioned that, this would not have gone in. So thank you. Okay. So, ooh, okay. So look at how nice and thick this is and creamy. Okay. So now, I'll take this one. We're just going to move it right on here. Now you can make this ahead of time. I do it all the time, just a little ahead of time. And if it's way, way ahead of time, I just put it in the refrigerator once it's cooled down. And then I'll put it right into the oven. When the turkey comes out, I'll put it in the oven. We're just gonna mix it up. And then, you know, because the turkey needs to rest anywhere between a half an hour and 45 minutes. So that's when I get my side dishes done. I have a double oven though. Total full disclosure. I have a double oven. Actually, I have 4 ovens in my house, okay? Because my mother lives downstairs and she has a double oven too. So I have a great capacity to cook for Thanksgiving. And if you're designing a house, get double ovens if you like to cook. Get double ovens. Because I can have my appetizers going. I also have an air fryer, which is a little oven too. So I could do all of my appetizers and all of that. Maybe next time I'll do an appetizer thing. So let's kind of move this all around. I want to get all of this. And now I'm just going to sprinkle it with a little bit of the cheese. Now, if you want, you know, breadcrumbs or the cracker crumbs on top, you can do that. But I'm not doing that. In addition, more cheese is always better. Say it with me at home. More cheese is always better. Just is, okay? So, it's like my salad dressings. I always put what in there? Sugar. Always. Okay, so this is going to go in here. Oh my gosh, and it's cooking really, really nicely. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see what's in here and see if it's done. Let's see. I think it might be. Oh, okay. That would be my timer saying it is done. So let's take this out. You'll see this one is a little bit too mushy. It's okay. This one's a little bit too mushy because I made my sauce a little bit too much milk in it. So it's a little bit more gushy. But that's okay. It will be fine. Okay. And now, what I did earlier, because you didn't have to see this, and I'm hoping they're done. Okay. So, you might want to know what I did with the chicken. So, all I did, you know, a quick little marinade with the chicken. If you're at home and you're like, I don't want to bother, just get some of that, you know, Italian dressing. You know, bottled Italian dressing, put it in there. Make sure you're at least have a half an hour to marinate it. But if not, then more is much better, okay? So, or 24 hours. So for this, no, I did not use that. What I used, let me see if I can get some tongs. There we go. And I am hoping, beyond all hope, that this is done. I'm going to take this one. So, what I did was I put in some, let me see, olive oil, Worcestershire sauce, soy sauce, brown sugar, an Italian kind of seasoning, garlic, Dijon mustard. That's what I put in here, okay? So let me show you how we plate this all up. Look at how nice and golden this is. I don't know if the camera can see it. Let me put it to the camera because this is a thing of beauty. And so instead of potatoes, that's the side dish. that we are having at my house unless we decide that we do something totally different, okay? Because in all honesty, again, full disclosure, I have a daughter who's allergic to chicken and poultry, and she said, Ma, let's just have a boiled dinner this year for Thanksgiving. Let's not do a turkey. So that might be what we're doing. So I'm going to take a healthy slice out of this. And you could do slices, or at home I just take a nice, and it might fall apart, and that's okay. At home, and it is, do you notice it's not quite set up? Because it's a pudding, okay? Now this thing, a little bit too much in there, a little bit too much cheese sauce. That's okay. We're just going to put it just like this. I think the other one that I'm going to make is much better. A little grainy, must have broke the sauce. Happens. But this sauce is actually going to be good to dip the chicken in too, because I do like that. And in my house, we don't eat a whole chicken breast together. We just, look at how nice that is. That was a half an hour done in the oven. So this, the side dishes, this one needs a little bit of work. The next one's going to be much better. But this is the vegetable au gratin, corn pudding, and a roasted chicken, marinated roasted chicken. Because they're all going to have turkey later on this month, other than me, because we might be having boiled dinner. With dumplings, Jewel, with dumplings. It's my daughter. With dumplings, because she wants dumplings. So I will put the recipes. You can get them on my website, the best way to get them is tiny.cc/what'sLindaCooking, no spaces, no apostrophe. You can look for the cauliflower au gratin there. And the corn pudding. So it's tiny.cc/what'sLindaCooking is actually the best website to get that. Or you can, join my community online, because I have a lot of fun online, and I have a group that's called, guess what? What's Linda Cooking? And that's on Facebook. So that's Facebook/groups/what'sLindaCooking. To join that community, I post almost daily, other than the weekends, because I take the weekends off. Videos and stuff like that, and Instagram at What's Linda Cooking. What else? At What's Linda Cooking. So follow me, like me, share it. That's always good. So, and if you are looking at me and say, oh my gosh, I can do a much better job than Linda does, you are so right. Like, your cheese sauce wouldn't come out like that. You would have it nice. The other one's going to come out nicer. But you would have it really nice. Then you can do your own cooking show. Contact ORC TV, because they would welcome it, and they have a nice they have a nice kitchen there and all of that. So and this is, I'm at the Council on Aging. Come on down, sign up if you want to try the food. Come on down, sign up, and you can try the food. I come here once a month. Okay, so this is Linda Medeiros with What's Linda Cooking for ORC TV at the Rochester Council on Aging. Bye for now, and happy Thanksgiving. Bye for now.